What's up, guys? Happy Thursday. This is a 1998 BMW E39 540IA, finished in Arctic Silver on Style 33 wheels. I learned that today. I looked at these wheels and thought, yep, I've seen them before. I have no clue what they are. I've never driven a car with these wheels before. So that they are 16-inch square, 16 by 8 probably, 225 section, Style 33. Anyways, this guy lives up in Los Angeles. He bought this car in 2001 with 13,000 miles. And has kept it 21 years. It now has 105,000 miles and is pretty much all completely original, which means, you guessed it, it's due for shocks, 4 front control arms, tie rods, 4 rear control arms, front links, rear links, essentially a whole suspension rebuild. I should just call that the phase 1 rebuild, because there are components that last longer and you can almost go another 100,000 miles on, probably more like 50. So phase 2 would be 150. And that would be your rear integral links, your ball joints, your H-arms, diff bushings, unless it's an M5, dealing with that extra torque. But he's due for motor mounts, trans mounts, fuel filter. Someone's replaced one of the cats with this one, and there is an exhaust leak on the car, which I'm guessing is from any of these questionable welds up here. They actually look pretty good, but it definitely sounds like there's a leak. So my guess is somewhere in here, there's just a small exhaust leak. But it's here primarily because the car starts cold and just runs really poorly. It's rough, it kind of bogs down. It feels like it wants to stall, but it doesn't. You unplug the MAF, the revs jump up to about 1200, then they settle out at 900 and it's smooth running. So initially, I wish it were a Vanos car. Being a 98 model year, it is a pre-Vanos car, M62 B44. So the MAF is one of those old school like E36 connectors that twists and unscrews, and it's a 4-pole connector. So I don't have any of those. I don't have another early 540 in here with that. And unfortunately, those MAFs from BMW are in the $500 neighborhood, which is just insane. Bosch is on back order with no ETA internationally. I can get a Vino brand or a Delphi sensor only. So I've prepared that for the customer and I'm waiting to hear a response. But he and his wife wanted to put the car through an MPI, kind of get an overview of where do we stand, what does it need, what's the required investment, is it safe to drive? I don't think it had driven in about 8 weeks. So the cosmetic blemishes are few, but there are some. This wheel center cap is missing. All of the wheels have just a touch, a few little marks from tire balancing in the past. He's got new tires on it, new brakes all around, so it doesn't need anything there. That kidney grill fell out on the way here, but he rescued it. It's in the car. All the tabs are broken. So my recommendation would either be a stock replacement, and this one's really loose too. So he should either just replace those if he wants to keep it original, or put, well, not the eBay ones, but put a set of, does this car have them? Yes, kind of, but the V8 version with the chrome fronts. That would kind of modernize and update the car. But Arctic Silver instead of titanium, and there's the difference. The 525 below it is titanium silver. Arctic has a touch of blue, I would say, in it. It's just a slightly different hue. If I saw that in a parking lot, I'd call it titanium silver. Even next to this, they've been exposed to different sunlight, and one's dirtier than the other. It's not really that much of a difference. But it's a pretty base car, no xenon lights, no PDC, no sunshades, no split folding seats. It does have DSP, which is great because that's a lot harder to option. It's a gray interior, Montana leather, no alarm system, I think, or was it standard? It doesn't beep when you lock and unlock it. It has the old key. And in the headliner, which we're not gonna be able to see, it doesn't have the vent panel right behind the sunroof in the middle. It's just a solid carpet panel, so it may not have the motion detector. Anyways, we got the MPI done, sent off to him, and I imagine there'll be a lengthy phone call discussing the suspension options or things like that. They may decide it's just tired and not worth a $10,000 or $20,000 investment, and they may go and buy a Tesla 3. I don't know. They have another Tesla, but he likes this car, and she acknowledged that while she wants him to sell it, this is a much better made car than the Tesla, but it has some drivability issues right now. Just 3 of the 4 struts are blown, so it's pretty floaty. Front inner control arm bushings are shot, so it clunks over bumps as those move around in the subframe. But it's certainly a great candidate to restore, and not even restore, just service. Get the service history up to date, fix the suspension, get it aligned, and make it drive like a BMW again. Now, obviously it's a non-sport package car, it's an automatic, and it's got these wheels on it. So what used to be viewed as a sport suspension 20 years ago is pretty much now a comfort suspension. So even if we went to what my 540 has on it, that's a little floaty for my tastes even. So he may want to go with like H&Rs or Coney's or something on this if he really wants to tighten it up. We didn't make any progress on the other silver 540 today since most of the day was spent on the MPI. We had Paul come in this morning, 01M5, lent the car to his friend over the holiday who pulled up a little too far over a parking pylon and crunched the pork chop that was not that old. So we got to put another one of those in for him today. Found his front tires were down to cord. Sublet him to a tire shop. I think he's gotten hooked up with fresh Michelins now, so that's good. And then on Toledo Blue, which is out back tonight, the secondary air pump is not coming on in the car when you cold start it. You apply voltage to the pump and it's fine. We've checked the fuses, the relays, and today pulled the front passenger seat out, and there's a fuse panel under there with a 50 amp fuse in it. We checked that and it's fine. Swapped it with another 50 amp just for fun. But the problem doesn't seem to be there, which is really frustrating. So somewhere there's got to be some issue with the wires because it's not fusing, it's not relays. It could be a DME issue, but every time I say that, I'm wrong. So there's just got to be some wiring problem somewhere in the car. E60 is getting its battery charged up, topped up. I think it's been on there all day. It takes forever, 90% on an AGM. So we'll let that run overnight. And finally, today we received the C-pillars for the Carbon Black 2000. I'll have to crack this box open tomorrow and get those parts down to the sublet so everything can be rewrapped. On my 540, which is out here in the dark, and I've locked the door because it's creepy when I'm here alone at night, finally finished up phase 1 of the restoration project. And I was just waiting on those Ziza brand white H8 front fog light bulbs. They finally showed up today. It took over 2 months to get those from ECS Tuning in Ohio. I think they had to go and make some more, but they came in. I put the car up on the lift, took the belly pan down, put them in from the bottom just because that was easier. And I hadn't been under there since the sublet, so I cleaned up a little bit of coolant that they got on the belly pan. But those are in, they work, no codes. Finished up the invoice today, printed that out, finally closed it. It's a 2,000 mile ticket because I've been driving the car since I recorded the mileage in. And that was opened in May when we got the car, and it's 39 pages from start to finish. It's got some personal information on the first page, actually all the pages. Nope, never mind, that's nothing personal at the top, that's all business. But 39 pages of services going through 129 different unique services. And at the end is the pricing information, which is private until I decide to sell the car.